So, I finally got around to watching Raya and the Last Dragon, and I gotta be honest, it was not that great. I don't know why it has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the Metacritic and IMDb scores of 75 and 7.4 out of 10, those are fair points, you know? I think that's a fair score to give to Raya and the Last Dragon. It's a 7. Um, it's a very low 7. And I say this because, well, okay. Let's start out with the first minutes of the movie, right? The first 20 minutes of the movie is a slog to get to. First off, the dialogue is boring. The dialogue is super boring. It's mind-numbing to listen to. Kind of cringy at times, to be honest. I didn't quite like it. I understand that they had to set it up and stuff, but like 20 minutes into the movie and I'm just slogging through this thing, and I keep thinking to myself, why would Disney do this? You know, why didn't anybody go back in the script and think to themselves, maybe we should make this a bit more interesting, a bit more engaging, you know, than what we got, which was a mediocre fighting sequence between Raya and her dad, followed by a big banquet. I don't know, I thought it was quite boring to witness. I think they could have done a lot better there. Afterwards, after that first 20 minutes, when you start really getting into the meat of the story and you have Raya searching for the last dragon, then that's when things start getting really good, you know? Things start actually picking up, getting interesting. Sisu is fun. She has a fun personality. She's fun to watch on screen. I think that they handled Raya's trust issues very well, especially considering how, like, the first person that she legitimately trusted just stabbed her in the back and then constantly tried to track her after that. I can understand that. I think Raya was the stupid one for bringing someone into like such a important part of the temple or whatever. That she was stupid. She was a kid though. She looked like 10 or something. So I'll give her a pass for being a stupid kid, because kids are stupid. But they really built out her trust issues really well after that, and they made sure that the audience knew that she had very good reason to do that, especially when you started seeing her going into these different locations, especially, for example, that location, what was it? Was it the not the Talon, the second location, right? Where there's all the colorful people and the lights. Yeah, that was a great example of why Raya should not trust anyone. And Sisu definitely learned her lesson there, sort of. The side characters are fun. When I originally saw the trailers, I thought that the little baby character was going to be the cringiest part of this movie. And I was wrong, you know, the first 20 minutes were the cringiest parts of this movie. After that, the baby character didn't actually do much. Like, the baby, I mean, much in terms of cringe. In terms of as an actual character, the baby was fun. She was cute. I enjoyed watching her little, what's it called? Conning schemes with the monkeys. I thought that was really cool. As for the barbarian dude, I'm not looking up these people's names, I'm sorry, but the barbarian dudes from the Spine, he was cool. He seemed to be more like of a father figure to the group, you know, but like he didn't really get much characterization, unfortunately. I think he got the short end of the stick in terms of that. I feel like they were probably trying to do some kind of father figure thing, especially with how he looked at the baby character and how he was very nurturing towards her. But I feel like maybe they should have just given him a bit more, not even like screen time, well, a bit more interesting dialogue that wasn't directly related to the plot, you know, so that it can build his character. Because if you compare him and the baby, if you compare both of them to just the riverboat kid, whose name I've also forgotten, but whatever, if you compare them to him, he is like the most interesting side character. Not only is he funny, he also talks about the fact that his parents, his parents were taken in by the purple fog or whatever. He talks about it with a lot of maturity, and you can tell the emotion in his voice is very serious. And I felt that they handled him a lot better than they handled either the baby or Big Barbarian Dude. Now, as for Sisu, who is definitely, I think, the standout character in this whole movie, Sisu had basically, let's say, two big personality quirks, right? Number one, she's very trusting, and I think that they kind of implied that she became very trusting because of what she experienced with her brothers and sisters in the past. I'm not going to spoil anything in this review, but they really establish it well, and I can see why someone that would experience something as heavy as that would become a very trusting person. I think that they handled that very well, and the fact that the world kept showing her that, dude, you shouldn't trust anyone, and she kept having to like see beyond the pettiness of humanity to keep trying to bring things together. I think that Sisu really stood out in that regard. Of course, like, in the end, it was Raya who had to learn how to trust, but Sisu really helped there. And then her second quirk, what was it? Let me pause. I believe that Sisu's second quirk was really her empathy. I think those were the main two character aspects of Sisu. First off, she was very trusting, as I mentioned before, but she also showed a lot of empathy to everyone involved, including our main bad guy character, Namari. So, yeah, Sisu showed a lot of empathy. I really respected her insistence on pointing out how humans can be shitty, but she does like try to see other people's point of view, and you really definitely see that with Namari specifically. She also has one scene with the little boy character about her empathizing with his situation. Now, let's talk about Namari. Alright, Namari was Raya's main antagonist, or actually she was the main antagonist for everyone, but she is an interesting character because first off, she is very focused, very hardcore focus lady. You know, I want you to think of a tough lady character who doesn't take any shit from anyone and just goes for the throat. That is who Namari is, and you kind of get the impression that her mom had more of an impact on that than it being Namari's natural tendency. For example, like in the beginning of the movie, the first 20 minutes, you see a section where Namari's mom kind of encourages her to make a connection directly with Raya, and it seemed to me, at least, that Namari seemed a bit apprehensive at first, and there was also a spot when they were talking where she seemed to talk about how her country has been struggling. And I feel like based on what I saw in the movie and Namari's mother, it feels to me like maybe her mother told her about this kind of stuff to convince her to act in such a way. And then that kind of like encouraged Namari to continue down this path of being very ruthless and stuff like that. In that regard, Namari is a very effective character. I think she does her role as an antagonist fairly well. You do see parts of her, and I think her true self, poke out, especially at the end, where, you know, she starts showing a lot more empathy and she starts to believe in the truth of Sisu. Sisu's philosophy of trust. Namari starts becoming an acolyte when she witnesses Sisu. I think that's great. But yeah, so overall, I felt that the story was very simple. I could see where everything was going miles ahead. And let me tell you, I am not like a very critical person when I look at media. I am the kind of person that will sit there and just take in everything and not really think about it. I'm being honest with you guys. I know I do reviews, but this is the kind of person that I am. And even I could see it. Even I could see where everything was going, which is not inherently a bad thing, but it's like when it's not handled as well as I believe it could have been, that's when you start seeing problems. So like I've mentioned before, the first 20 minutes, because of the dialogue especially, you are going to be slogging through that. It is the most boring Pixar cinema that I've seen since Big Hero 6, but that's another story. After that, things start getting into their stride. The writers start understanding how to work with these characters. The dialogue is still a bit flat, but they're doing their best, and I gotta respect that. Yeah. So, finally, let's talk about the animation, right? I freaking am tired. I know, I'm so tired of Pixar animations, like photorealistic world with kind of Play-Doh people, you know? Because like here, these people, they feel like something I would see from Fortnite, but with more craftsmanship. It's just Fortnite people with more craftsmanship, and then the most photorealistic backgrounds that you can get. And at first, when they started doing this, I was pretty impressed. I loved it. I thought it was really cool, but I'm starting to get sick of it, you know? Especially when you see amazing stylized stuff coming out of Sony, from like Spider-Verse and more recently the Mitchells versus the robots. Like, you are seeing stuff that I know Pixar can do. Stuff that Pixar can put their back into and really be proud of coming out of Sony. And I'm telling you, Pixar, if they wanted to, they could do it 10 times better than Sony, and I already love Sony for doing what they've done. But Pixar doesn't. They've picked an art style, they've picked a movie style, they've picked a script style, and they're just sticking to it, and it's getting boring, guys. It's getting boring. And I think Pixar can do better. And unfortunately, I feel like Raya and the Last Dragon got the short end of the stick in that regard, because a lot of the animation and art was just aesthetics to me. Like, I really respect what they did with taking a bunch of Southeast Asian cultures and bringing that all together into what I believe is a very well-crafted world. But the way that it is, how do I explain this? The way that it's brought onto the screen does not feel engaging to me. It feels like a rehashing of what we've seen before. It doesn't feel, it's boring. It's boring, and I feel so bad saying that. But that's what it is. And I just want Pixar, Disney to just do better. I believe they can do better. I know they can do better. And I hope that their future movies follow through on what the Disney moniker used to mean. Anyway, that's all from me. Raya and the Last Dragon. It's a solid movie with a terrible first 20 minutes that consistently starts to get better. The dialogue is weak, but that's alright. It's not too bad, but it's not great either. I don't think I'll be coming back to watch this movie for at least another decade, but it's definitely worth a rewatch, just not in a very recent time frame. 7 out of 10, could do better, but you didn't. So, Have a wonderful day, guys. This is Solar Dingo signing out. Tell me what you think in the comments. I love all of you. Goodbye.